Mic check, mic check. Hey, good morning, everybody. Can you hear me okay, and can you see my screen okay? I see who we got in here. G. Gutierrez, welcome in. Roy. CP, G Fam, welcome in, welcome in. Hey, just a quick disclaimer. I started to lose my voice yesterday. I feel fine. I'm not sick. My throat doesn't hurt or anything like that, but this has happened to me before. It's kind of strange. Yeah, my voice is a little hoarse. I'm not sure why. I wasn't out like screaming or anything, but anyways, we're going to work through it. I got cough drops, but if you hear my voice being a little scratchy, sorry. First of all, I apologize for that too. Don't judge. We'll get through it. We feel fine. Ryan, good morning. Bloom, hello, hello. Sarah, welcome in. Benny, good morning, good morning. From Rochester, New York. Okay, today we start the $5,000 account challenge. I have taken it upon myself to actually start a FAQ because I get asked so many questions about these challenges. I started an FAQ form. So if you have questions about the account challenge that you feel like that should be added to this, if you could type it in the Q&A channel of the Discord, that would be great. But let's review this real quick. How much money do you need to start? My answer, as much or as little as you want. It does not matter. The starting amount does not matter. Just because I'm beginning with 5K, it does not mean that you need 5K to trade with me. You can trade with 1K, you can trade with 10K, you can trade with 5K, you can trade with $347. It doesn't matter. The starting amount does not matter. It is the process of the trading that we are going to execute that does. Question 2, how much money will I be using per trade? To begin with, since I have 5K in my account, I'm going to start with using around $2,000 per trade, roughly. Sometimes less than that, probably not more than that. If I can get to a point where I've grown the account to 10K or 10K plus, then I'll start feeling more confident about using more capital. But typically not until then. So I want to make sure that the reason why I'm using 2K, if I'm starting with 5K, the reason why I'm using 2K per trade roughly is because I want to make sure that I don't blow the account in one trade. You know what happens if I take a bad trade, right? And then also I want to leave room to take multiple trades because I'm on a cash account. If I use all 5K capital on one trade, that's it for the day. I have to wait for that funds. I have to wait for those funds to settle. I can't take any more trades. So I don't want to be limited to one trade per day. What happens if there's multiple opportunities, right? So I'm going to use 2K per trade because I want to be able to, like, if I take 2K per trade and that trade works, great. And then there's another opportunity out there, I still got 3K left cash to be able to trade with. So 2K per trade. What is the end goal for the account challenge? There is not an end goal. There never is one. There's no dollar amount. There is no time limit. My plan is to just trade and execute well and hopefully grow that account consistently. My only goal with these account challenges is to just show you what's possible when you trade a streamlined system that has been proven to work, that has an edge with extreme discipline. When you implement this system with extreme discipline, you get the results at the end of this challenge. Question 4, will you tell us your trades? Yes, of course. I'll be live trading every single day. You're going to get everything that you need to know. You're going to get my exact entry price. You're going to get my exact exit price. You're going to get my exact contract selection. You're going to get my exact stop loss placement. You're going to get my exact sell target. You're going to get my exact trade management in real time, meaning where am I placing my stop loss? Am I adjusting the trade? Am I moving the profit target up? Am I planning to scale in? Am I planning to scale out? You're going to get all of that information, all of it. Now, the only thing I don't tell you is the amount of capital that I'm using on that particular trade. But I've already told you up here that I'm using around 2K per trade. So if you want to use more, that's up to you. If you want to use less capital, that is also up to you. It is going to depend on your account size. I do not want to influence anybody with my position sizing. It's going to be different for everybody. Not everybody's going to have $5,000 to put into an account to start, right? So use what is right for you. Use what is comfortable for you. It will depend on your account size. Question 5, where can I learn more about how to be successful in the account challenge? Well, conveniently for you, I have made a podcast episode. This is called Starting Account Challenges. Give this podcast episode a listen. I give you the sauce. That is the secret sauce for how I plan to approach this account challenge and how I have approached all my previous account challenges. So this is in the Q&A channel of the Discord server. If you have further questions for me about the account challenge and you feel like it should be added to this list, please type it here and let me know. That way I don't have to, because people are going to ask these questions. And I just don't want to answer them 500 times. So if we can just start a collective list, that would be awesome. All right, previous account challenges. I've ran account challenges quite a bit. Started with 5K back in 2021. And in about 4.5 months, I ran this to $100,000. This has been my most successful challenge to date. We were at a very different time, though. We were at a very different time in terms of like market conditions and market cycles. I mean, this was an awesome time to trade. I don't know if we're going to get that type of result. I would hope for that. I would love to get this type of result, but I don't know if we're going to get that type of result this time around. So we'll have to see. Then in 2022, I did a 1K account challenge where I ran it to $41,000. I was planning to buy an R8. I did not buy an R8. I wound up buying a duplex instead. In 2023, I ran 1K to $50,000. In 2024, I ran 1K to $15,000. And then in 2025, I think we restarted this account challenge a couple of times, but I wound up running this one to... This is a 5K account challenge to $27,000, and I think I restarted it somewhere in here as well. But I don't think that I've ran any of these past 50K since the initial couple. You can't go back and compare or expect the same results from this challenge as the last challenges because, like I said with the first one, we're at a totally different point in the market right now. Going into today. This is a perfect example. Going into today, I was really, really excited. I thought we had pretty good setups. I was doing my analysis over the weekend, and I was like, okay, we got nice technical setups, quality setups. Hopefully things don't get crazy, and lo and behold, things got crazy. I'm sure that you've heard about everything going on between the U.S. and Iran. Yeah, it's getting wild. So anytime you have these geopolitical tensions, these worldly tensions, and everybody's not getting along, you have a market that tends to be hesitant. You've got a market that tends to be a little less, that has a little less conviction. Okay, and so with that being said, and this being a Monday, and this being our first day back since all of that news and that, the bombings and everything started kicking off, we need to be really careful about how we progress forward, about how we press forward. You may, when I posted here in the Q&A channel and I said that, how much money am I going to be using per trade? And I said I'm using around 2K per trade. Just because I can use 2K per trade or I plan to doesn't mean that I will or that I have to. I might be, my first trade of the day, I might use $500 just as a feeler trade. I don't know, right? We'll have to see what kind of price action we're given. But just because we can max it out doesn't mean we have to do that every single trade. So just make sure you're using your best judgment when it comes to what we're trading, when we're trading, under what market cycle we're trading, and under what market conditions we are trading. Are we trading when the market is hot and everything's running and we're getting follow through? Or are we trading when the U.S. is potentially going to start World War III and everybody's freaked out? What's going on, right? So just use your best judgment when it comes to position sizing. All right, let's get into the watch list for today. I've already built the watch list out, but if you don't know, this focus list right here, I post this in this channel, in the Day Trade Watch List channel. I post this focus list every single afternoon, and your job, your homework, is to go chart this stuff out on your own. Make sure that you're charting this stuff out on your own, because for one, it's good practice. Two, you don't want to be lost when the day starts, right? So, SPY, first one on our focus list. We're on the 5-minute time frame here. What are we looking for? I figured that today would be a gap down day because of the war news, right? And it is. So this is SPY 5-minute time frame. This is a gap down. There were two levels that I specifically talked about when I posted about SPY yesterday. I'd mentioned two levels. I said there's a ranging support at $680. We can see that very clearly there. We're on the daily chart time frame. So this ranging support at 680, that was the first level I mentioned. The second level I mentioned was 675. This is a big level. Look at all of this support, and this is months of price action. This is 2 months of price action, and you are getting a hold of 675 over the course of 2 months. And if we drag this back further, it was a previous area of resistance as well. So this is a fairly strong level. So when we go back to the 5-minute time frame, look at what we've got. SPY holds 680 first, then eventually falls through, bounces off of 675. This is not by coincidence, and then rallies back to 680. So those two levels that I mentioned yesterday are so significant that the pre-market price action, even though it's moving off of fundamentals, is still reacting around these technical levels. So these are important levels to watch. So when we talk about where are we going to place our short level today, let's go back to the 5-minute time frame. We are going to plan to go short at 675, and that is not based off of the fact that this is the pre-market low. That's not, it's not short at the pre-market low, 675. Yep, that works. It is because that is a significant point on the daily, and it just so happens to be the pre-market low. Short below 675. Now, the long level, I'm not planning to go long on this at 680. That is way too close to the current trade price. Plus, this is gap down. I'm not necessarily bullish on this anyways, but we would be a fool not to think that this can't recover and run back up to the top side. Why would we be a fool to think that? Well, let me tell you, Trader Joe, because every single time there has been some sort of geopolitical tensions, President Trump during this administration has done something or said something to fix the market. I think he just does not like the market being down on his terms. And this is definitely the market down on his terms right now, right? So I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, think about all the tariffs. He's threatened these tariffs, the market will dump, and then he retracts them. And he says, oh, just kidding. We're not doing those tariffs. And the market recovers, right? I'm not saying that that's going to happen this time, but we would be a fool not to think that something like that couldn't happen. So we do need to place a long level, but I'm not going to be aggressive with it. I want to be a lot more conservative with the long level at the previous day's closing price. That's going to be $686. The reason why I'm going off the PDC, that's the previous day's closing price. The reason why I'm choosing that level is because we are looking for something known as a red to green move. It's a red to green move. If you don't know what that is, it's covered in the WAP course. Go look it up. Go look it up. I don't have time to cover it right now, but it all revolves. It's a day trading strategy revolving around utilizing that previous day's closing price as a reference point. All right, number 2 on the watch list is Netflix, or the focus list rather, is Netflix. Yeah, this one makes sense to put on the list. So it is gap down slightly, but it's actually holding up fairly well. I mean, it's not a big gap down. Netflix, go back to the daily. Netflix broke this downtrend trend line on the daily, and then look at this volume that came in recently. So it started to recover, right? Broke the downtrend, started to recover, and then you get a positive reaction to a news catalyst. That's what all that volume is, causing it to gap up. Not only do you get a gap up, you get what's known as a gap and go. So this gapped up, not only gapped up, but it also pressed higher after gapping up, which shows strength. And then going into today, I mean, it's slightly gapped down, but not nearly as gapped down as something like SPY. right? And so what we look for on Netflix is going to be the continuation topside. This is going to be a long idea above $97. $97. So we're just looking for a break of the previous day's high of day, and our price target initially is going to be 100. That's going to be the $100 hold number. Now below there is a gap. If Netflix sells off, yeah, we can look for a gap filled down here. I don't think that that's a likely scenario. We have setups that look really good to take short, and Netflix is not one of them. So I'm not going to set a short level on Netflix today, because to me, this does not look like a bearish setup. This looks more bullish than anything. I think that we have better bearish setups out there to take advantage of. So if I'm going to go short on something, I'm going to go short on something that looks bearish, right? Not something that's holding up and looking rather bullish. So Netflix long above 97, we rock with that and move on. Amazon. Next one on the watch list. So Amazon was a bullish setup. Go back to the daily. If you don't remember why the setup is on the watch list, always go back to the daily and reference. Figure it out. Amazon was a bullish setup because it closed just under this resistance point, and I said we're looking for the break of 211 for the run to 213, and then we start to look for the gap fill up to 220, right? Well, with the gap down this morning, look at where this is opening at. Does this really look like, if it closed here and it was opening here, that would be a pretty easy move for us, right? Just a break of the resistance and run it to the gap. But now where it's trading at, look at the move that it needs to make now, right? Could it make this type of move? Yeah. Is it likely to happen? Probably not, because this needs to run. It needs to break all of the resistance from yesterday, from the prior trading day. Needs to break the previous day's closing price, the prior day's high of day. Needs to break the resistance at 211. Needs to break above into the gap. It's just too much resistance. I don't think that this is going to happen today. So I'm removing the gap down. Unfortunately, takes this out of play. We are removing Amazon from the watch list. It is no longer a bullish setup. This is no longer a bullet, not today at least. Tesla. Next one on the list. What was the setup here? Well, check out the daily if you don't remember. What we have on the daily is a series of lower highs and a series of higher lows kind of converging to this point. We've got a $400 whole number here and the 200 EMA at 395. So we're looking for a directional move outside of these parameters, right? And the gap down this morning essentially gives us that directional move. So we're just looking for now a continuation move lower from the directional move that has been established. So Tesla short below $388. I'm not looking to take this long given the gap down this morning. Up next is NVIDIA. NVIDIA, this analysis is very simple. Since the earnings report, this is sold. You got another day following the earnings report where it sold off again. You've got a gap down this morning, and I'm looking for this to continue to sell. This name has been weak ever since the earnings report. Just look at this on the daily. It's easy. Just look at this on the daily. We don't need to overcomplicate this. Two big red sell candles back to back. So what are we going to, and a gap down this morning. So what do we look for? Just look for lower lows. Easy, 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 easy. Do not overcomplicate it if you do not have to. NVIDIA, short below $173. Up next is UNH. I do like this setup. UNH on the daily is kind of range trading underneath this gap area. Look at how big this gap is, by the way. And the entry into this gap area starts at the $300 whole number, where it's currently trading at now. If we were to pull this line back to the left, look at all of this. I'll just do it. Look at all of this resistance in this area, in this zone. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Right? So a break of that resistance likely means we get a run to the gap area, and then we can adjust from there and see if we can't get an entry into that gap area. So 5-minute time frame, what do we need to see? We got to see a break of that resistance, don't we? Look, this has been pretty strong. I like this as a bullish setup today, even though it's gapped down. I do like this because it's not far off from 294. So UNH will be a long above 294. That is what we're looking for. A break of the previous day's closing price, a break of the prior day's high of day, and then the first price target above is going to be 300. We'll see if we can get it. Google. Next one and final one on our focus list. What do we got going on? Google on the daily, let's show you. On the daily time frame is compressed right now underneath the 50 EMA. Tried to hold up and bounce off the $300 whole number, which it did, but then you get a rejection at the 50 EMA on the daily. This is a dynamic line of resistance and support. At this point, it's acting as a level of resistance. So here's your rejection at the 50 EMA, multiple rejection at the 50 EMA, again another rejection at the 50 EMA. So now where is this trading at? It's down here near 300 and 301. So to the 5-minute time frame, your pre-market low is 302. So there's actually two ways that I would feel comfortable or confident approaching this. Well, maybe three, but here, I'll give you the lay of the land, and then you can decide what you want to do from there. So your pre-market low is 302, roughly. So one way to approach this is just say short under 302. The problem with that is if you go short under 302 and this does find support at 300, you are kind of limited on profit margin because you're going short from here to here. You're only giving yourself about 0.6% profit margin. That's not really that much. But if this sells off through 300 and you took your entry up here, you're going to look like a boss because you got your entry way earlier. You know what I mean? So maybe this works. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. If you want to be aggressive on it, your short level is going to be placed at 302. Now, if you say, Gates, I'm not the aggressive trader. I'm not really sure what this is going to do today. Maybe it holds. Maybe it doesn't. I want to be more conservative. Then your short level is placed at 300. So the 300 level is going to be the level that I'm going to agree the most with today, short below 300 because it's the whole number below. I just want to make sure that I'm getting the confirmation that I need. The only other thing that I would agree with here, is let's say you're somewhere in the middle and you don't want to be overly aggressive and you don't want to be overly conservative. The only thing I would agree with is short at 301, which is a midpoint level between the two. This one gets kind of wonky though because you're still limiting yourself on profit margin, but you are getting a little bit more confirmation because you would have a break of 302. So how you want to approach this today is up to you. I just tend to lean to the more conservative side of things. I like Google below 300. I think I just need to see the confirmation. So it's short below 300. All right. That is it for the for the focus list. That is not it for the full watch list. There is one more that I wanted to add. And that is going to be this one. PLTR. It is a gap up this morning. This to me is starting to look like an ascending triangle with a flat line of resistance and a series of higher lows. PLTR also, where this gapped up to, go back to the daily, where this gapped up to looks pretty interesting because at 146 is the peak of this kind of almost like a descending triangle formation. All right, you see that? So this means that PLTR, when it opens, this is making higher highs. It's no longer making these lower highs. It's making the higher highs, and above this highest peak, that means it's broken totally out of this structure. And so the next price target overhead is going to be 150 or 151, somewhere around that 200 EMA, somewhere around that whole number. So PLTR, I like this for a break of the pre-market high, the proper pre-market high at 144. So we add PLTR to the watch list. It is one of the few names that is showing relative strength this morning. It is one of the few names that has gapped up this morning, and it is one of the few names that I am absolutely bullish on today. So that is it. All right. If you've tuned in late to this live stream, you missed it. It's okay. You can replay it from the beginning if you would like. But you did miss something that I want to reiterate. And I'm going to do that now just in case you never go back to the beginning. It is in the Q&A channel. I've posted this. It is the account challenge FAQs. Today starts the account challenge. If you've been trading with me for a couple of weeks, quite honestly, nothing changes in the way that we execute and the way that we do things. If you are just now joining, though, you wouldn't know how things have been running, so you might have these questions. So let me answer them for you. Your first question that you might ask is, how much money do you need to start? As much or as little as you want. You can start with $5K, you can start with $1K, $10K, or $347 if that's all you have. The starting amount of capital that you put into your account does not matter. It is the process of trading that matters. You understand? It is not about the money, it is about the process. Number two, how much money will I be using per trade? To begin, I have $5K in my account. I will be using somewhere around $2K per trade. Sometimes a little more maybe, sometimes a little less, but probably not too much more than $2K because I need to leave room to take multiple trades. What happens if I have $5K in my account and I'm on a cash account and I use $5K per trade, I get one trade per day. I don't want to limit myself to that. So I'm using about half of my portfolio balance per trade because I don't intend to take more than 2 to 3 trades per day. That's just me. Typically, that's how many trades I take. It's very rare that I take more than 3 trades per day. Now, if I can grow the account to 10K or 10K plus, then I will feel more confident about using more capital per trade. Question number 3, what is the end goal for the account? There is no end goal. I don't have an end goal. There's no dollar amount. There's no time limit. My plan is to just trade and execute trades well. I just want to be green. That's it. I want to grow the account consistently, hopefully, right? I want to show you what is possible when you execute a streamlined system with discipline. That is my goal. It is not a dollar amount. It is not a time limit. We will just go until we're done. That's it. Next. Will you tell us your trades? Yes, of course. I'm going to be live trading every single day. You're going to get my exact entry. You're going to get my exact exit. You're going to get my exact contract selection. You're going to get my exact stop loss placement, my sell target, trade management. Am I scaling in? Am I scaling out? Am I moving my sell target up? Am I moving my sell target down? Am I moving my stop loss up? Am I moving my stop loss down? The amount of capital you use per trade, though, is up to you. That is the one thing that I'm not going to give to you because I've already given you that right here. I've already told you I'm using 2K per trade, roughly. So I don't want to influence anybody with how much capital I'm using, right? If I say I'm using $2,000 on this trade and Trader Joe only has $2,000 in their account, they might feel inclined to use their whole account on the trade because that's what I'm using. You should not do that. Do not do that. Please make sure you are managing your risk properly based on the amount of capital that you have in your account. So the amount of money that you use per trade is up to you, and that's going to totally depend on your account size and your starting amount. Next question, where can you learn about how to be successful in this account challenge? Well, luckily for you, I've made a podcast episode on exactly that. This is my secret sauce, if you will. This is how I have approached all of my previous account challenges. This is how I intend to approach this account challenge, using the strategies and everything taught here in this podcast episode. So if you haven't heard this yet, go give it a listen. It's called Starting Account Challenges. It's super, 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 super helpful. Now, if you have any more questions for me about the account challenge and you think it should be added to this account challenge FAQ forum, post it here in the Q&A channel. Post it here. And yeah, we can answer it because I just don't feel like, I know people are going to continue to ask these questions. I don't feel like answering these 500 times. So I'm answering them one time now. And we'll reference everybody else back to this. We'll reference everybody else back to this. And I see a typo right here. We'll reference everybody back to this that has these questions. All right, I'm going to get the watch list posted. We are trading live today, so here's your full watch list. Go ahead and screenshot this for you. The live trading is not held here on YouTube because there's like a 20-second delay or 15-second delay that I can't control. That's no good for us. So we don't live trade on YouTube. We live trade on Discord. Here's how you're going to navigate there. If you're new to the server, left-hand side of the server, scroll all the way down to the bottom. Down, 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 down. Scroll, 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 scroll. Boom. You hit this thing right here. It's called the voice channels heading. You got the arena. You're going to see people piled in here. The arena. It's got a little timer on it. It says like an hour and 43 right now. That is where we will conduct the live trading, right here in the arena. So join me in the arena. I'm going to end this live stream here. I will meet you over in the arena in about 15 or 20 minutes. I'll meet you there in about 15 or 20 minutes. Cool? All right. Good luck today. Remember, it is Monday after a crazy weekend. We might do right by really protecting ourselves and sizing down. My plan, at first, at least right now, is probably to use like $1,000 per trade just because it's the first couple trades of the account challenge. I don't want to say that I'm nervous, but there's a lot of pressure to perform when it comes. I'm sure I'll fall into a groove, but there is a lot of pressure to perform, and I don't want to mess it up, right? That being said, we had a lot of news come out over the weekend that the market maybe hasn't had time to fully react to yet. So it may be a good idea to stay patient and size down anyways, regardless of the fact that this account challenge is starting today. So let's just proceed with caution because it's been a crazy weekend and we totally don't know how this market's going to react yet. All right, thank you for your time. I hope the review has helped you out this morning. I will see you over in the Discord server in the arena for the live trading for the day. All right, cheers.